Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. A leper came to Jesus and, kneeling down, begged him and said, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand, touched him, and said to him, "I do will it. Be made clean." The leprosy left him immediately, and he was made clean. Then, warning him sternly, he dismissed him at once. He said to him, "See that you tell no one anything, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad, so that it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. He remained outside in deserted places, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. The Gospel of the Lord. Last May, I went to Corpus Christi, Texas, to help my daughter move out of her college apartment and then come home for the summer. Now, I had a plan, of course. I would arrive, we would go to Mass at the college, followed by dinner with her friends. The next day, with the help of some young, strong college boys, we would move her and her roommate's stuff. Then, we'd meet a truck in the Walmart parking lot to ship her car home. Then, say a teary-eyed goodbye to her dog, Pincher, and send him off with a friend who would take care of him for a couple months. And finally, fly back to Michigan together. All of this had to be done in one weekend. Now, the only part that went according to my plan was flying there and flying home. There were no young, strong college boys to do the heavy lifting. Just me and another dad. The truck company turned out to be a fraud, and they scammed me out of a whole bunch of money. The friend left without taking Pincher, telling us at the last minute that she couldn't take care of him. Then on top of all that, my cell phone decided to stop working. I remember laying in my hotel room just overwhelmed, not having a clue as what to do or even who to call for help, if I could call anybody. Exhausted, I surrendered all this stuff to God, asking Him for help to take care of all of this in just a couple days. I just couldn't do it. Now, I won't go into detail, but I can say that I found myself giggling over the next couple days as I watched how He worked through other people and took care of everything. He rescued me. He really will help with anything if we just have the faith to ask. And then let Him do it His way and not try to convince Him to do it our way. So can you imagine how the leper in our gospel must have felt before he approached Jesus for help? In the first reading, we heard what someone having leprosy was required to do. The one who bears the sore of leprosy shall keep his garments rent and his head bare, and shall muffle his beard. He shall cry out, "Unclean, unclean." He shall dwell apart, making his abode outside the camp. So imagine the loneliness, being forced to spend your life separated from everyone else. Add the feeling of embarrassment this poor man must have felt when he had to tear holes in his garments and keep his head bare, making him stand out, making the sores on his body visible, letting everyone see the ugly parts of him. The judgmental looks and the sight of people scurrying about to avoid him as he yelled out that he was unclean must have been humiliating. Life must have seemed pretty hopeless, but something drew this man to Jesus. Hearing about Jesus must have stirred hope in this man. Hope he could be rescued. Hope of a new life. And this man realized that Jesus was the way to this new life. And it was this man's faith in Jesus' power and compassion that gave him the courage to approach and not avoid Jesus and say, "You can make me clean if you wish." Now, I think there are times in our life we really can relate to this leper. This man's sores were on his skin. So where are our sores? You know, when we find ourselves constantly anxious about work, worried about school, stressed about finances, worried about our kids and families, worried about what others think of us, trying to keep everything in our life together and under our control, we can find ourselves overwhelmed, exhausted, and even separated from God. We can add to these worries by becoming self-critical when we see others around us living seemingly normal, happy lives, thinking that we're not doing a very good job at this life of ours, and we can feel like a failure. When this happens, we can begin to see a sore appear. This sore, it's called burden. Sometimes we talk bad about someone behind their back, or we ignore someone who needs help. Sometimes we are impatient and uncaring. Sometimes we focus only on ourselves. When we become aware of these and our other sins, and notice that it seems like we keep doing the same things over and over and over again, we can feel like we're letting Jesus down. We feel guilty. We see another sore. The sore, it's called shame. When people we love leave us, it hurts. It could be the result of a death, a divorce, or some other painful separation. We can find ourselves in a life that leaves us feeling damaged, wrecked, even unlovable. We may not really know what to do, but look for anything just to reduce the pain. This sore, it's called brokenness. There are times we find ourselves like the leper, all alone. There is no one to talk to, no one to laugh with, and no one to help us as we struggle through life, trying to do everything by ourselves. Our life becomes a drudgery, and we can get lost, wandering through life just looking for someone to notice us, someone to be with us, someone to care about us, someone who will love us. This sore is a big one. It's called loneliness. Our sores of burden, shame, brokenness, and loneliness, while not visible on our skin, can be just as undesirable and painful as the sores on the leper's body. Unlike the leper who was forced to tell people who approached him that he was unclean, we don't normally tell people who approach us that we are ashamed, broken, or lonely. Unlike the leper who let his sores be seen, we often put on a mask and try to hide ours behind a fake smile, telling everyone who asks us how we're doing that we're good, we're just fine. But like the leper, we can have hope. Who wouldn't like a life where we are made whole, free of the feeling of guilt and any other baggage we might be carrying around? Who wouldn't like a life where we're sure of how much Jesus loves us and that He is with us in the middle of all of our struggles? Our hope for this life, it can draw us to Jesus. But it is a faith, like the faith of this leper, that enables us to put ourselves in front of Jesus with all of our mess and all of our sores and just cry out, "Here I am." And like He did with the leper, He'll look on us with love. He'll reach out He'll touch us. He'll help us. He'll forgive us. He'll be with us. He'll heal us. And He will rescue us. And you know what? That Jesus will be physically present to us today on that altar in the Eucharist. Bring your burdens to me, and I'll carry them, if you let me. Bring your shame to me, and I'll forgive you, if you let me. Bring your brokenness to me, and I will make you whole, if you let me. Bring your loneliness to me, and I will fill your heart with love, if you let me. I know everything about you. I see your sores. So come to me, just like you are, sores and all, because I love you. I will do anything for you, if you let me. So, will you let me?